The simple version of all the personality types, if you had to explain it really quickly to somebody without getting into all the weird depth. All right, here we go. ENFJs are the lovable visionaries. Very lovable. They want you a part of their vision. They're very good at gathering people for their cause. They make great managers, directors, and princesses. Don't forget, my background is in entertainment, so I've met all three. The ENFJ is known for being the big sibling, the hero, the protagonist. They're the ones that had their arm around you on the playground when you were bold, and then they went and talked to the board. Now they're friends with everybody. ENFPs are the campaigners because they know how to work emotion. They're the ones working the corner, sometimes for good and sometimes for not so good. There's a very wide span of ENFPs, from the extreme blue hair supporting a cause type and the ambiverted quiet in the basement type. This is the simple version, but for the more complicated and in-depth version, check out our other videos. ENFPs love seeing all kinds of options all the time. They love to live in the abstract. And sometimes when that plays against them, they become ambiverted. Contrast that to the option seeker of the ENTP. They love conspiracy theories, even more than the ENFPs. They share a similar function. Everything is an idea, a plan, a big thing. They're known as the pie-in-the-sky personality type. Not necessarily known for completing tasks, but known for knowing everything and trying everything. Anything and everything you've ever thought of or done, they've probably tried it too. ENTPs have no limits. If you say it can't be done, ENTPs will try to prove you wrong. Some ENTPs have no social bubble. They will come right up to you. It's the most obvious personality type I think. Their volume also goes to 11. They can be quite the inspiring personality type. Just try to keep up. ENTJs, the generals, the admirals, the emperors, the CEOs. Their chin is usually like 3 inches higher than everybody else. When people say Donald Trump is an ENTJ, because they know what's going on and they're bored. So what do? They just run everything and then go golfing and write that off on their taxes. They're vacationing all the time. They'll write that off on their taxes. They do the general necessary things and then they go adventure. Don't forget their subconscious is the ISFP. Every letter is flipped, see? The ISFPs are the granola adventurers. If you've got a man bun, you're probably ISFP. A lot of mountain climbers, hikers, and adventurers, and those who take selfies once every blue moon. ISFPs love outdoors and animals. From the entertainment world, I can tell you that there's a lot of ISFP lead singers. What's interesting is backstage is that you'll notice that they're introverts. They're quiet and reserved and highly aware of everybody around them. So if you're part of an ISFP's personal circle, that's a very small circle. A lot of ISFPs that I know have like one companion that they glue to the rest of their life. They can turn on the show and they turn it right off because they're introverts after all. Contrast that to the extroverted version of what I just described to you, and that's me, the ESFP. My favorite. Actually, it's not my favorite, but anyway. Woe is me. ESFPs are known as the entertainers. They're usually on stage, actors, live performers. The ISFPs are the artists or adventurers. That's literally their nickname. And the ESFPs are the entertainers. A lot of ESFPs are the character actors at Disneyland, for example. ESFPs thrive on live, in-person, real-time entertainment. We like to experience that back and forth with you, live, in person, right now. ISFPs are very shy, very reserved, very selective of who's around them. And ESFPs are like, I'm here. Everything else is very similar. But you can see that one is extroverted, one is introverted. The SFP types themselves being quite flighty and skittish, because how we feel in real time is very important. But we'll save all that for the complex video. Let's just say that the SFP types can be easily thrown off and easily depressed. But just give us a compliment and we're back in business. A lot of our value is from the external. I'd say both SFP types glue to a companion. Think of like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, Aladdin and Abu. For all of our Zelda fans, think Link and Navi. Except Link doesn't talk and doesn't really show a lot of emotion. He's very good with his hands. Now, even though this is a fantasy character, everybody kind of wants to be on Link's side, but we don't really know how to relate to Link. So who is Link? Easy, ISTP. I've tried to compliment ISTPs before because they are very cool, but it gets kind of awkward for somebody like me because they don't even care what you have to think of. They just do their thing. So ISTPs are a little bit standoffish. The stereotype is the grumpy, get off my lawn kind of guy. Because they're introverted, they're sensory, they're very aware of what's around them. They're thinker types because they're cold. They're very good with their hands. ISTPs are known for like being trades, like physical hands-on careers, like auto mechanics, electrician, plumber, these physical things that have these puzzles that they can solve in real time with their hands. Because they're TI dominant and SE parent, we don't want to get into the technicalities. This is the simple version of the video. All right. Link doesn't talk and he's not a real character. He can be any personality type. ISFJ for all we know, because he's a defender. But you know what? That's our next one. ISFJs are the knights. They are noble and they will always fulfill their duty, especially for other people. Extremely reliable. ISFJs are the emotional tanks. They can handle anything you throw. Typical occupations that they go for are therapist or nurse, dental assistants, receptionists, personal assistants. They can handle emergency rooms like nobody's business. Chaos is where they thrive because they're so centered. They're phenomenal doctors, knights of the round or square or whatever type. INFJs, well, a lot of INFJs think that they're INFJ, but really they're another type. They're similar functions to the ISFJs, only it's kind of turned on. INFJs are the guardians of authenticity, as I say on my channel. Instead of defending you and your perspectives like the ISFJ, INFJs just make sure that you live up to your potential. INFJs have vision, but for you, not for themselves. That's an extroverted function for them, similar to how the ENFJ, remember how they want you a part of their vision? INFJs know you, and that's why they get flipped like pancakes with whatever they do, because they can see right through you. They'll play along if you're trying to lie or manipulate, because they know if it's for good, they'll just play along. They'll just always try to consider the best in somebody, no matter what their reputation. As long as you don't cross their personal lines, they won't give you the INFJ door slam. And if that happens to you, well, good luck, you're gone. Annoyingly enough, INFJs think too good about somebody, especially if that person is obviously not in their best interest. They have this weird, like, I'm gonna take care of them and I'm gonna help them change kind of mindset. INFJs can see their potential and they'll give them that benefit of the doubt. So INFJs get stepped on like a bug in certain situations like that. And some of them become very rare but very powerful leaders, probably the best of the best in that position. A lot of people think that Jesus is an INFJ, for example. Some people even say Hitler is an INFJ, but I beg to differ. If you want to see a video on that, let me know in the comments. Speaking of NTJ types, let's talk about the INTJ. INTJs are, well, this. They don't show emotion in their face, they just kind of bottle it up. Because they have emotion, they just don't need to express it. And they have a very unique power, INTJs. And that is the ability to be locked in long-term on a vision, especially a vision for themselves. If you are involved in their vision, lock on with them because they're going places. They know how to be efficient and cut corners because it's a corner you can cut. Why not? A lot of people think that Elon Musk is an INTJ. They don't even think about it. They just do it and go. Very productive. It's a very strong and very powerful personality type. Very locked on to any idea. It's very hard to change an INTJ's mind. And they're easily misunderstood because of their RBF face is not really what's going on the inside. They're not robots. They just bottle up everything. They have a vision for their life and they're working on it. That's what they're thinking about all the time. They had a vision for their life when they were 2 years old. Similar to how the INFJ has a plan for you, a vision for you. INTJs have a vision for themselves and they're locked on. Anyway, moving on. INTPs, let's just flip the fourth letter there. They're the Einsteins, the geniuses, the collectors. They're very much involved in their own world. Don't forget they're intuitives after all, and introverts. The things that they think of make sense. Look at the stereotype of dwarves in like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, for example. They're introverted, they're to themselves, they're intuitive, they're thinker types, yet they're open to opportunities, Even if they seem kind of rude, they're just gonna say it, right? And some people like that bluntness. They're very blunt. INTPs are known to ruminate. That's kind of the difference between INTJ and INTP. INTPs don't need to come to any kind of conclusion. They just like to consider all the options all the time. All the time. The INTJ does want some sort of progressive movement. And INTPs will just keep considering all of the options. Let's see, who are we missing? You guys liking this so far? Feel free to drop a comment, a thought. Let us know what kinds of things you want to see in the future from our channel. We're super excited to have you here. Feel free to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. For real, who are we missing? And who watches these long ones? Well, it's a pink shirt video. I think we're doing pretty well. Pepper, how we doing? Okay, all right, moving on. INFP, let's save that one for the last. ESFJ, the circle protectors. They're known for kind of putting obligations onto other people because they know you can do it. That's their unique type of leadership, is responsibility. Because they believe that that's gonna help you, right? The extra weight in your truck can get you out of the snow. ESFJs make fantastic teachers and consultants. They're known for just doing everything, almost everything for everyone too. Oh, you can help them, you can help them. They'll put you in front of the class. They're very good at protecting their people. Where the ISFJs will defend the vibe and the person surrounding that vibe. The ESFJs, known for picking favorites by the way, will protect their group, their people. If you're part of an ESFJ circle, you know. So they're like the knights with the full round table, so a King Arthur type of figure versus the knight themselves. ISFJ, ESFJ. ESFJs love exclusivity, they play favorites, they like to have tiers to their friendships and levels. Kind of like how Slughorn in Harry Potter was written but not portrayed. He was kind of goofy, the actor. The Slug Club, you know, part of my exclusive group. ESFJs are very protective of their group. ESFJs kind of have a unique depth. Let's just move on and we'll get to that in the more complicated version of this video. ESTPs, oh gosh, you know. ESTPs are known for negging people, these salespeople. They're very good at figuring out what your flaws are in real time and then calling you out for it in real time. They're like, yo, what's up? They have this way of talking that kind of makes you feel stupid. Let's just say that they're known for pushing boundaries, because if it's a boundary you can push, why not test the system, right? A lot of ESTPs kind of do things that may or may not put them behind bars. ESTPs are very present. They don't really have a vision for their future, so they thrive on the hype of right now. They're known for being really good salespeople, going out there and getting rejected and pushing to the next person. Similar to the ENTP, other people's emotions for the ESTP are kind of a playful, fun thing. ESTPs just like to push to the next level, and that's a very progressive thing for the ESTP. A lot of people love ESTPs for that, and you know, that kind of can get a bad rap as well, but ESTPs are pretty cool. So if you meet one, they're usually very, very cool. So, sorry if you get offended, I'm sorry. ESTPs are very cool. What's the next one?
ISTJ.
ISTJ. ISTJs are, well, they're nice people. They're known as the Karens. Law enforcement. They're black and white thinkers, typically speaking, stereotypically speaking. If you do something that's, a little bit off, they're gonna report you. They're really good judges, police officers, people who enforce the law. Don't get confused, ISTJs with ISFJs. They'll both write you a little piece of paper to help you in your life. The ISFJ may write you a prescription, whereas the ISTJ may write you a ticket. That's how they help you. That's a very stereotypical difference between the doctors, ISFJs, and the cops, the ISTJs. So stereotype. Where would we be without rules, right? We need the Karens to a point to keep things in order. Sounds like I'm biased. When you get enough tickets from ISTJs, you kind of have a perspective. Just be careful what you say around them, I guess. Okay, let's just move on. Can we move on, please? Okay, the ESTJ. Oh, we just got out of the ISTJ. They're known as the controller type. I want to talk about positive things. ESTJs are usually very powerful. They're very penny pinchy. I personally feel that ESTJs are the very top of the food chain in the social world because they know all the rules, they know how to enforce the rules, they know how to be charismatic to make sure that happens, and then they'll do their thing because they know how the system works. They make fantastic attorneys. They're that type of person in society. They have a bad rap for being very controlling, a little bit on the manipulative side, but we want to talk about the positive sides of these stereotypes. Contrast the ESTJ versus the ENTJ. The ETJ types are known for being very wealthy financially, but the ENTJ will walk in and buy the ice cream parlor, whereas the ESTJ will somehow make you feel guilty that you spend a few extra pennies on your ice cream cone. They penny pinch and they just have this big vision of let's just go for it. So that's kind of the difference, generally speaking, financially between the two. ISTJs will quietly report you and do the Karen thing, but the ESTJ will literally call you out with their stereotype. We'll do a letter switching video like that down the road. So if the ESTJs are like the top of the food chain and knowing where the deal is, let's look at the contrast between the INFP, because every letter therefore is flipped. And INFPs are an extremely complicated, very opinionated type. And they're an FI dominant type, so they're very much about how they feel. They want to consider a lot of options with that, quiet, reserved, unless you say something that they really just feel off with. INFPs are extremely creative, very powerful with their creativity. They make fantastic writers, creators, artists. INFPs have a unique nature where they don't necessarily get a high on your response to their art. They like to do it for themselves. And that is how INFPs kind of get this rap of being a private artist. They don't want to feel judged by your opinion. And that's a great thing because INFPs are fantastically creative. That is their superpower. They're like a cannon. Though it rarely fires as far as being seen out in public, when it does, you know. And it can be tough to push an INFP to finish their art, to finish their production. They need to feel heard and understood. They have an RBF that's a little different than the INTJ's RBF. It's like a little more sad or mad because they're in their head, they're intuitive. They're very creative. They're creating on the inside of their mind. This physical plane has, it's not here. They're open to hearing what you have to say, but they're gonna do their own thing regardless of what you have to say. It's extremely difficult to try to change an INFP's mind. You can't tell them what to do. They make better independent contractors than employees, reliable, predictable schedule. INFPs are known for being creative and independent. It must be difficult to be an INFP. INFJs are like solid on authenticity. They're guardians of authenticity, whereas the INFPs are like, well, that could be something and that could be something. They're very good at considering everything, similar to how the INTPs are, just ruminating in what could be. And to them, anything could be authentic because they're FI dominant, any parent. It makes sense how they can just. This is the simple version of the video. All right, if you want the contrast between INFJ and INFP, we made a whole other video here. Feel free to check it out. That was a really fun one. This should cover the general gist of all 16 personality types, at least within the Myers-Briggs realm of things. So let us know what types of personalities are in your world and who you see on a regular basis and who you are as well. Check out our shop. The link is down below for your very own personality t-shirt. Don't forget you're unique, just like everybody else. I'm Eric Osmond. Thanks for joining us here on Personality Guide. We'll see you next time. We got it. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.